This is the Hoops League Association on Hoops League TV. Tonight, it's the Chicago Blues against the Vancouver Summit. The Season 9 HLA Finals, Game 3. A different scene and a different series in Game 3, literally and figuratively, respectively. As we head to the Windy City, Chicago, Illinois, the crown jewel of the Midwest, for this third contest in the Season 9 HLA Finals, where things are quite different than how the series began over in the Pacific Northwest, where the Vancouver Summit found themselves up 2-0 after 2 games. In Game 1, they dominated, led, start to finish, and never looked back. In Game 2, however, it was the Chicago Blues who looked the superior of the two squads, using their experience edge to take an advantage with them into the second half. But they quickly rescinded it and were never able to regain it after a turgid, discordant second half offensive effort. Now in front of their home fans, the mission is simple yet essential. Win a game. Make it a series. Don't go down 3-0 or 3-1. If they can do it, it'll be a best-of-3 contest for the title. But if they can't, it'll be the Vancouver Summit, the team no one saw coming, 1 win away from a title. Vancouver, Chicago, Game 3. As we look at the starting lineups, it's the same group for both squads that started the last game. Chicago sticks with Shaka Zulu at power forward, notably after his strong defensive performance in Game 2. Jaga C joins him as the man in the middle, and Samuel James rounds out the front court. Only 3.5 points per game for James in this series. He will certainly have to step up if Chicago wants to get back in it. Walter Yensid and Sindor Drago comprise the backcourt, and while Drago played a much better Game 2, it was his struggles in the fourth quarter that kept Chicago from being able to finish it off. Yensid, though, Mr. 3-time MVP and often one of the most clutch players in most folks' estimations himself, has only 6.5 points per game this series, and though he got out to a quick start in Game 2, he was unable to continue it throughout the rest of the game. Many folks on Chicago need to step up. But on Vancouver, they've been stepping up since the moment Game 1 tipped off. That starts with Zay Kighton in the backcourt, who has 13 assists per game through 2. Jordan Covington, of course, though he struggled in the fourth quarter, Vancouver's leading scorer by a mile and the presumptive series MVP if things continue. But it is only 2 games through. Joshua Owens has played a tremendous series at the small forward position, averaging 12.5 points per game and doing everything all over the court on both ends for Vancouver, muscling the franchise that he has played for since his debut in the league to a 2-win margin from their first championship. And then, of course, it's James Murray and Jamison J. Lee, whose dunk-tastic performance, in Lee's case in Game 2, and whose solid mid-range shooting in Game 1 for Murray, have been a vital part of Vancouver's efforts to take a 2-0 lead. It's Vancouver, it's Chicago, and it is Game 3. Coming to you live here on Hoops League TV from the Herbie Hancock Fieldhouse in Chicago, Illinois. So Vancouver will win the tip and get it started in a raucous arena here, home to the Season 1 champions, the Season 3 Eastern Conference champions, and the 9-time playoff appearing Chicago Blues. Only franchise in the league with that distinction, as Zay Kighton will get it started from downtown. Drago picked off there by Joshua Owens. And Owens at the other end will take a 3 and knock down Joshua Owens. Mentioned at the top how well he's been playing, and he continues that with a really strong start to this game. On the steal on the 3, that one missed. Tipped up, rebound goes to Lee, and Jamison J. Lee's performance on the glass, one of the most consistent things for Vancouver, is that one missed by Covington. My goodness, he missed the alley-oop. As Kighton had an open lane, went for something fancy. Perhaps the youthful verve shows at the expense of the Summit there, as Yensid will knock down the deep 2 to get his first points. Now turned over by Kitan, a bit of a miscommunication it looked like. And Jaga will take it the other way, working it in. Now kicks out to Drago. Step back. Drago loops it into Yensid. Wide open look, and it's 2 up, 2 down for Walter Yensid in the first minute and 15 seconds. Exactly what Vancouver didn't want to see. And now an offensive foul committed by Covington, as it looks like Yensid drew the charge. Cyclops Inc., by the way, on this broadcast, though you probably already know that if you're a loyal viewer of the channel, as Drago knocks down the 3, and just like that, a 7-0 run by Chicago to answer Vancouver's start to the game. This, of course, not necessarily a must-win, but no team has ever come back from down 3-0 or 3-1, for that matter, in the Hoops League's short history. To lose this game would be effectively a death sentence for the Blues championship hopes. Jaga backed in there, but missed the point-blank push shot from short range, as Lee will do the same at the other end and loop it off the corner of the back rim. James collected the rebound. Samuel James, actually the leading scorer in Season 1 for the San Francisco Quakes at the time. Very quiet in this series. Drago took a deep 2 as a bit of a discordant offensive attack for the Blues on that possession. Kitan will get right to the rack there. And Zay Kitan, the former Boston Charm and Portland Rose, has really shown his ability to get to the rack, as Yensid does the same there. How about Walter Yensid with 6 points? Picked him out before the broadcast as someone who needed to step up. And that he certainly has so far. That one missed by Covington. Rebound was tipped up and taken by Jaga. Jaga at the free throw line. Moving, and oh my goodness! Splits the defense! Good little action there. Drew James Murray away, and Jaga took advantage. Weaved through the lane like a bobbin and sewed his way to the bucket for 2. Yensid had his ankle snapped there by Kitan, and now Covington will knock down the 3 from the top left of the key. Good little step back move to get himself some space, and those are his first points of the day. Almost certainly, barring anything unforeseen, won't be his last. 11-11 with 1:40 in this first quarter, as Drago responds with a 3 of his own. A bit of confusion there on Vancouver. Left Drago relatively open. Now Covington goes for the quick shot. Maybe not the best decision there, as Zulu was up in his grill. Zulu backing in on Murray. Now kicks out to Drago, and then Yensid. Murray tried to jump the route. He did not, and Yensid dished out to the corner where Sindor Drago was waiting, while Zay Kitan had his back turned, and it turns into 3 for the Blues. 9 for Drago early. Missed there by Kitan. Rebound, Zulu. Vancouver's offense has looked a little shaken, perhaps, by the unfamiliar environment of Chicago, as Drago gets to the rack there. Timeout, Vancouver. And the bench unit comes in. Maybe they'll have some more success. This is Fidelak playing in the finals on the Blues' home floor. Not for the first time. He played with them, obviously, in Season 1 when they defeated the Portland Roses. Fidelak, a deep 3. Oh, he got it! Never known for his laser three-point shooting ability, but he knocks down a deep one to cut the lead to 5. Raja Rose, meanwhile, making his first appearance. Very quiet series so far from him, and he misses that 3 as well. Rose, of course, infamously missed the shot in Season 7 for the Portland Roses that would have made them champions. Instead, in Game 7, it went to the Miami Tides. Trying to erase some bad finals history is Raja Rose. Played with Chicago in Season 3 as well. Dingus able to knock down the mid-range. Heck of a series for Danny Dingus in a Blues uniform. 5 seconds on the first quarter clock. There is Parker laying it in with 3.7. And Ren Alex will take the three-quarter shot and miss that one. 21-16. Sindor Drago represents 11 of those points for a Chicago team that has hummed from the tip. a 5-point advantage as we head into quarter 2 for the Blues. Ren Alex stays on the floor here and gives it to Yensid, who has had the hot hand early. Double team for Yensid. Now shifts onto Kaneko, tries the hook shot and left it short. Well defended there by the Summit. Fidelak will get Vancouver started at the other end, and it's Landon Curry, who likes his defensive matchup with Rose and pulls the trigger on a 3 that hits nothing but net. Landon Curry, of course we talked about before, shifted into the bench role and has done a great job all season long there, including in the playoffs. He told us he understands what it takes to win, and if that means go to the bench, so be it. Tyler Moore, the former 6th man of the year, knocks that one off the back rim and out. And Vancouver takes the other way as Curry knocks down another one! And so it's just 2 quick buckets from Landon Curry to start this second quarter, and all of a sudden, Vancouver back up by 1. Clearly, another game like Game 2 rather than Game 1 when the lead rarely changed hands, and now Vancouver goes with it the other way as that one was tipped inside, I believe, by Parker. And Marcus Smith, the former San Diego Surf, will try that one for the free throw line. Moore got a hand on it, not his best shot. And looped in the other way, Yensid to the bucket. 8 points for Walter Yensid. Great find by Ren Alex as he found the cutting veteran inside for 2. Fidelak on the other end. How about that alley-oop? A little backdoor action from Romaine Parker, who lets himself into the back rooms of the Chicago defense and emerges with 2 points. 24-23, 3:24 to go in the second. And that one missed by Red Alex. Had a lot of space up top, but not his favorite shot. And Marcus Smith defended well here by Moore, who will grab the rebound. Tyler Moore has bounced around the league. He won the Season 2 championship with the Boston Charms. That one off the rim and comes to Fidelak. Fidelak, plenty of space up top. Now Curry step back. That is a 2 and it's in and out. The rebound grabbed by Dingus as Chicago will call a timeout. Drago, Jaga, Zulu, and James check back in as Yensid will rest. And Zulu! From the baseline to the bucket in the blink of an eye. Jamison J. Lee had no chance of stopping that one. And Chicago with just 4 points in this second quarter so far, but those 2 important ones as Covington completes the play that Vancouver could not earlier. And jams that one through. Only 2 of 6 so far on the day. But still his Summit up by 1, and there's Rose blossoming above the bucket with a beautiful one-handed jam over a half-hearted contest from Jamison J. Lee. So perhaps Chicago taking a page out of the Vancouver book and throwing a few down here to get the crowd into it. Owens with a little silencer layup, though, at the other end. Rose. Oh, he had the angle there. Now he gets it back, slips through, and Raja Rose with 2 buckets in 2 possessions. The lead changing hands many times here in the second, and it changes hands once again as Zay Kighton changes hands and lays that one in with the southpaw. Rose. Blocked from behind by Kaneko. He had a block like that last game as well. And Vancouver will take it the other way. Owens, defended by James, gets a screen. James goes over it. And Owens will try a deep 3 and knock it down! Joshua Owens providing some big O for the Summit. 8 points in this first half. And a 4-point advantage is, in fact, Vancouver's largest of the game. Rose lost that one. Lee comes up with the steal. Bit of a bad pass from Drago. Here comes Lee in transition. And how do you think that was going to end? With a rack attack, of course. This is Jamison J. Lee we're talking about. Dunks are his only way to score in this final so far. And Zulu will respond with a dunk of his own. Got all alone in the paint. And he went to town on it. 4 points for him early. This is Chitin trying a three. Left it short. Zulu rebounds that. 46 seconds to go in the second quarter. Vancouver up 35-31 in game 3. Rose, now Drago. Quiet since the first quarter. Tries a two and knocks it through. His first points of this second quarter. He sat most of it. He's got 13 points and 4 assists in this opening half. Covington, double teamed inside. Tried to go over Zulu. Tough shot! And it trickled through. Jordan Covington feels like hitting almost everything in these finals, despite the slow start in this game. That one was blocked, but Zulu cleaned up on it through a sea of Summit players. He had 4 around him. He fished that out and made good on it. Covington over Zulu. He got a hit on that, but Lee, oh my goodness! Reverse jam on the blocked shot. 5 seconds to go in the first half. Drago, feet on the logo, now steps in, little spin move, can't hit the three. And that will end this first half. Heck of an effort from the Vancouver Summit in that second quarter. 39-35 at the break. Halftime analysis coming up. So at the half here, Cyclops Inc. will be joined once again. That is, I will be joined once again by Cyclops Incorporated to break down some of what we saw in that first half. HLTV at the half. Cyclops, welcome to the show. Always a pleasure, Cyclops. So, we had a good start for the home crowd here. They were into it. It was rocking in the Herbie Hancock Fieldhouse. Chicago looked good through that first quarter. Of course, Vancouver scored the last 5 points. Double-digit advantage for the Blues for the first time in the first quarter in this series. And instead, at the half, the story has been how Vancouver responded, how their offense got into gear. And Cyclops, these guys just look like they are big enough for any moment. Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think the Vancouver Summit, you'd think the pressure would be on them because, this is first time on the big stage. You haven't been in this situation before. How do you respond? Now you're playing on the road for the first time. In front of your own fans is fine and good, but now you're on the road in one of the toughest environments to play in the league. But what you got to remember is these guys are playing with house money. I mean, no one expected them to make the playoffs this year necessarily. If folks were picking them, it'd be a little bold, but I think everyone had Portland in over them. Maybe I had San Antonio in over them. But you get Vancouver in here, and then they beat the defending champions in the play-in. They sweep the number 1 seeded Phoenix Firebirds, who were led by the reigning MVP in beef jerky, and had, an embarrassment of riches with Ricardo Bozzoni and Lamar Chambers on the squad. And then you beat Poland Strunk and Carl Joseph in the conference finals. I mean, I think it's understandable for Vancouver to feel like, okay, we could beat anyone. We're not afraid of anything. And clearly they have played in a way that indicates that's how they are. So really impressive effort, to your point, playing fearlessly in that second quarter. What was it that stood out to you about Vancouver's offensive attack? Well, I think it's a little tough to kind of quantify this in the box score, but to me, they just play with a better understanding of each other. You look at the Summit going all over the floor. They seem to understand how to take advantage of each other's strengths and weaknesses. We saw Landon Curry pick on Rajah Rose. That's a favorable defensive matchup for him. Twice in a row, he got 2 buckets out of it, and that is how Vancouver retook the lead to start the quarter. We see Zay Chitin attacking the rack when he understands that the slower defenders are on the floor for the Blues, and nobody's calling for the ball from Zay Chitin. They know that he's going to get it to him. He already had 4 assists in the first half. He's got 13 a game, 26 total through 2 games. But they let him go to the rack because they understand that is where their advantage is. I don't think we've seen a team play this collectively in a long time, or succeed based on their collective strength the way Vancouver does. Really, since maybe season 3 with Portland. Obviously, Jamal Alexander was the supernova superstar there, but there was also that team element where everyone understood when the ball needed to be in someone else's hands and where they needed to be on the floor to create success and open up opportunities. So for Chicago, you get a good game out of Walter Yensid in the first half. You get a good game out of Sindor Drago in the first half. The two of them have 21 of the 35 points. And the bench only provided 2 points, and it was on a Danny Dingus fadeaway mid-range. So is that the key to this one? How are they going to keep up with this young Vancouver team if they can't get anything out of the bench? Well, I think that's a good point. And what I do want to say is you have to rely on your stars, but they can't be the whole solution for you. We saw that with Drago last game. So I do think someone needs to step up. At the same time, I want to offer some pushback on the idea that it's the bench or bust for Chicago, because we've seen Yensid do this too many times. And we saw Samuel James do this in the regular season many times, where either one of those guys can just take over a game with their scoring ability. So I don't think that the bench is necessarily on the hook to the degree that if they don't perform, it's over. But does Chicago have a much better chance if the bench steps up? And do I think someone absolutely needs to? Unequivocally, yes. So we'll look for a better performance out of the bench in the second half for the Chicago Blues, down 39-35 at the half. Third quarter coming up. Starting lineups back on the floor here. As Drago gives to Yensid, who will try a three and get it to go. There's Walter Yensid finally finding the range from above the arc. Up to double digits for the first time in this series as well. No doubt his best performance, and it had to be expected in front of his home crowd. Kyton lays this one in as he worked his way around Jaga. Think back to what Cyclev said at the half about taking advantage of weaker defenders. Jaga great on the interior, but a bit slow as Drago was not slow to take advantage of that opportunity. Sindor Drago playing an excellent series for the Blues, and he's got them tied at 41 apiece. Lee poked away there by Yensid. Great steal from behind, and now Drago facing a plethora of Vancouver defenders. Yensid cross-court looped to Drago. His three short. Rebound, Murray. A very quiet game from James Murray so far. Covington got a little bit behind the defense. Couldn't get that one, though. And it caroms off into the waiting arms of Drago. Drago, now Yensid. Now double teamed. And then Drago again. The step back three. No. Rebound, Zulu. Blocked! Hard to know who got a hand on that, but it looked like it might have been Lee. And oh, they're saying this is out of bounds on Chicago, so it must have touched Zulu last. Excellent defense by Vancouver. Covington has not been able to find it from behind the arc today. Chicago will take it the other way. Oh, Yensid, great job, worked through the defense and just slithered through in a serpentine fashion to get to the rack for two. He's got 13. That one poked away. And Kyton got it back initially, but couldn't hold on. Yensid ends up with it. Making things happen on both ends of the floor is the three-time MVP. Top of the key, too. No. Rebound, Zulu. Another offensive board for Chicago. Oh! Look at that one! From the block, Shaka Zulu opens the elevator doors and slams that one down to the next level. Kyton quiets the crowd briefly with the two. He's up to 11 points. Drago to Yensid, cross-court step back three, no, and out of bounds on the shot. Dingus will actually come into this game. Zulu, 8.6 rebounds will sit. Maybe they're saving him for crunch time. That one, errant pass, it looks like. I thought that Chicago might have gotten a hand on that, but they say it is off of Kyton as it clanged off the rim. And now Chicago goes the other way. That one missed by Yensid, who's cooled off. And the margin remains at 2 in Chicago's favor. Owens stays hot. Now up to double digits. He scored double digits in all 3 games of this series. Joshua Owens living up to that #1 pick status. Long awaited this performance. That one again missed by Yensid. Is it game off the front iron? 2:05 to go, and we're tied at 45-45. Covington 3. No good. Between Covington and Yensid, neither team's star can buy a basket. Drago, oh, great throw! And Danny Dingus was waiting on it like room service. Right over by the restricted area, the triple team turns into 2 points for Chicago. Covington 3-ball. Again, no good. Rebound fought for. Jaga winds up with it. Drago looped over to Yensid. Yensid fouled, and he got it! The hoop plus the harm, as Covington will pick up his second on a late contest. Meanwhile, on the free throw, Ben's Buckets is going to come into this game, making his finals debut, the sharpshooter. As Lee turns around on Dingus, his former teammate, and says, "You say hello, I say goodbye." Dunks that one through. 6 points, 4 rebounds for Jamison J. Lee. And it's a 2-point game once again. Yensid to the rack once more with feeling. 17 points, 2 assists, and a steal for Walter Yensid. Hasn't been his most consistent shooting game, but he's filling up the scoreboard as Dingus rejects Jordan Covington's application for a layup, and Yensid again at the rack. He is just so smart about filling the lane and finding a way to get to the bucket. Now he gets a steal! Jumped in front of Zay Kuyten's pass. Yensid outside, step back. Drago, 4 on the shot clock. Jaga, roll into the rack. Floater, no. Rebound, Lee, well defended there by Vancouver as they recovered quickly on defense. Lee out to Kuyten with 33 on the clock for the 3rd quarter. Covington, floater is good. And that must feel good for Jordan Covington. It's been a nightmare offensively for him today. But he got that one. A timeout by Chicago brings in the bench. And Ren Alex, now guarded by Fiedelac, will step back, kick to Ben's Buckets for 3. Yes, indeed. And that is what Ben's Buckets is on the team for. Snipes it from the corner, and it's a 7-point advantage. About a 5-second difference between the shot and the game clock. Fiedelac rolls, blocked by Moore. He says he'll have no more of that. 3.1 on the shot clock. Fiedelac hit one of these deep threes earlier. He'll try again. This one no good. Rebound tipped, and Curry somehow ends up with it. Fiedelac into Murray. His floater's good with 1 second to go. Huge turn there. Could have been a 4-point, potentially 5-point swing. This Ren Alex's full court heave falls short. 56-51. Chicago leading after 3. A big rally in that 3rd quarter from the home squad, looking to cut the series back to 2-1 and make it a real contest. 4th quarter getting started here. Fiedelac, guarded by Gozi Nwosu, making his finals debut as Chicago mixes up the rotations. That one missed by Murray, but Smith got the offensive rebound, and that is exactly what they traded for, or what they were looking to trade for when they got him from San Diego. One of the best offensive rebounders in the league, Marcus Smith. Buckets to the rack, gets the lay-in. How about Ben's Buckets taking it to the hoop? And a nice lane opened up for him. He's got 5 off the bench. Fiedelac, Romaine Parker will try a 3. Good screen got him open, but it didn't turn into 3 points. Fiedelac was guarding Alex there as it went out to Rose, who missed, but Nwosu gets an offensive rebound. He goes out to Alex, now back to Nwosu. His little hook shot comes off. And Smith grabs his 3rd board of the game. Smith at the free throw line. Working on Moore. Hook shot short. Tyler Moore playing some good defense for the Chicago Blues off the bench here. This is Rose. Step back. 3-ball. Yes, sir! Timeout, Vancouver! Raja Rose quiet from three-point range for most of the series, but he makes some noise there. So the starters check back in with 3:39 to go. As Vancouver faces an 8-point deficit, Yensid gets another steal, and Walter Yensid spinning, pirouetting towards the rack for 2 points to make it 21 on the day. A great performance from one of the league's all-time greats, and it's got Chicago back with a double-digit advantage as Joshua Owens. My goodness, if this is his coming out party, what a time to do it. Yensid leaves the three short. That one rebounded by Owens. As it should be mentioned, Chicago, Lee, oh my goodness, cuts me off and says, take a look at this, it's still showtime, this game ain't over. Back down to 6. He shook off Gozi Nwosu was the point I was gonna make. Oh, but there's Rose showing his thorns to the Vancouver Summit with a jam at the other end. He's up to 9 points, and he and Nwosu remain on the floor. As Drago is out there as well. A bit of a three-guard look going. That one missed by Owens, his first miss today. He has shot the lights out so far. Nwosu grabbed it. Zulu still on the bench for Chicago as well. Zulu and James, the two starters, that is. Yensid again left it short. It's tipped around, and Covington winds up with it. 2:22 to go in the fourth quarter of Game 3. Chicago trying to make this a 2-1 series. Vancouver looking to make it 3-0. Rebound there by another miss, by way of another miss for Covington, that is, to Nwosu, who's grabbed a few. And now it is Raja Rose! What a feed by Drago! Oh my goodness! He changed hands and found a way to whip it around to a waiting Raja Rose. There is Owens to the rack. And Joshua Owens, as Chicago calls a timeout, really has been the best player on the Summit today. It should be said. Drago. Double team, kick inside, Yensid, now back out to Drago. And now Drago, a step back three, no. Kitan rebounds, they're down to 140 in this game. And Kitan gets to the rack and understands that he has to move quickly, as does Vancouver collectively, if they want to stay in this 6-point game. Drago, poor defense, turns into a bucket. He's got a double-double, and he's up to 18 points with 12 assists plus 3 rebounds to boot. There's a steal by Yensid. Phenomenal defense from a former multi-time all-defensive player. That one missed by Jaga, though, as Chicago continues to struggle to land the knockout punch. 70 seconds to go in this game, and Lee, oh my goodness, Jamison J. Lee from the semicircle takes flight again and gets Gozi Nwosu a chair. Double digits for him now. He's up to 10 points. Rebound. Pardon, it went the other way to Drago, and he had no rebound as he knocked down that too. Trading buckets not going to work to Vancouver's advantage, and they get a big three by Covington. That will keep them in it. It's down to 5. Under a minute to go. 71-66, Chicago leading here in the Herbie Hancock Fieldhouse. Drago, outside. Kicks to Yensid. Big three. No. Jaga offensive rebound. And more time coming off the clock. Here's Drago. No. Still can't hit the dagger. 33 seconds to go. Covington a deep two. Short rebound to Drago. And it looks like Covington's legs might be gone out from under him as Drago gets to the rack, lays it in, and that might just do it. 73-66 with under 20 seconds to go. Kitan to Murray. Murray into Kitan. And blocked from behind by Nwosu. Jaga now, and they are not going to foul him. And the Chicago Blues, with a big-time rally, they took advantage out of the break and never looked back. 75-66, they win in Game 3, and they make this a real series at 2-1. Sandor Drago earns Player of the Game honors with 22 points and 12 assists. But Walter Yensid had 4 steals to go with 21 points. A legacy game from a vintage performance, pardon, from a legacy player. The Chicago Blues with a sterling effort to take Game 3, make it 2-1. And we, ladies and gentlemen, have a series on our hands here on Hoops League TV. I've been Cyclopsic. You've been watching the Season 9 HLA Finals on Hoops League TV. We'll have Game 4 for you later this week. Have a great night.